Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you to our online class on effective literature review management with ATLAS.ti. So what is it that we are going to focus on this online class is number one would be the literature review management itself, and then I'm going to introduce you to the computer-aided qualitative data analysis software of ATLAS.ti. Although it belongs to the group of qualitative analysis, but for the purpose of our online class today, I would like to focus on the literature review management aspect. Okay, all right, so who am I? My name is Munirah Mohamad. You can call me Ani. I am currently a senior lecturer at the School of Law of UUM. I am also a research fellow at Center for Testing, Measurement and Appraisal of UUM. And at the same time, I am an associate fellow at the Legal and Justice Research Center for UUM. And I am also a certified ATLAS.ti senior professional trainer. So I teach ATLAS.ti for both the purpose of literature review and qualitative analysis at various institutions within Malaysia as well as neighboring countries. Okay, now let's get on with the outline of the presentation. Okay, number one, I wish to highlight to you some of the common problems in doing literature review and of course how ATLAS.ti can help to overcome these problems. Second, we are going to move on to the three-step process of literature review management using ATLAS.ti. Of course, if you take a look at this three-step process, even if you're not using ATLAS.ti, these are the three steps that you will be taking, okay, for the purpose of literature review management. Okay, number one, we're going to learn how to prepare the literature for the purpose of review. Number two, we are going to go through the literature for the purpose of reading and understanding the concepts and linking between one concept to another. Okay, and then we're going to prepare the outputs from ATLAS.ti for the purpose of our literature review write-up. And before we leave for the session today, we are going to have a live Q&A session. Alright, so first and foremost, let's take a look at the common problems in doing literature review. Number one, the researcher does not have a system to manage the literature. This problem will arise especially if the researcher goes through the online database of the university and they put in a keyword and they download documents. If there is no consistency, there is no system to manage the literature, then all the documents, all the references, they will be not centralized in a location, no proper system to manage it. Okay. The second problem in doing literature review is there's no system to manage the important points in the literature. Okay. Now, maybe we have read one document and we have the general idea. We read another document and then we find, aha, I think I have read this information somewhere, but I can't remember where. Okay, so this is a very common problem among researchers on thinking or trying to link between one point that they have already read to another point that they is currently reading. Okay. Now, the third one is the writer's block problem. The researcher has already read a lot. They know a lot. They get general ideas on a lot of matters. And the information keep building up because they're reading the references, reading the literature. But when the time comes for them to put their thoughts into writing, put the review into writing, then the obstacle that they face is the writer's block problem. Okay, meaning they know all the information, but once seated in front of the computer, they will sort of not sure, okay, what to write, how to strategize the literature review write-up. Now, to illustrate better, let me just show you, okay, let us all imagine this situation upon which we have four highly targeted literature in front of us. Okay, the first one, the second one, the third literature, and the fourth literature. Now, once we get four documents in front of us, what is it the first thing that we do? Of course, we're going to skim through the literature and then we're trying to get that point what is it is talking about. Okay, for example, here we can see this information. Let me just say here, this part is talking about definition, and then we're gonna find the definition in another document as well, and probably document number 4 does not have that particular concept and definition, and we're gonna repeat this same process for the other 2 concepts as well. Okay, for example, blue color is for definition, red color highlighting is for problem, green color is for suggestion, and yellow color is for way forward, for example. Okay, now what do we normally do when we have a document in front of us with full of highlightings, full of handwritten notes on the right hand side, on the left hand side, top, bottom, in between, everywhere? So we have these writings, okay, notes put in by the researcher. Okay, now for documents, you will agree with me that this will not be so much of a problem, but we do not have literature in within the 4 documents or 10 documents. We're gonna have hundreds. Sometimes our literature would reach to thousands. Okay, now let me just step back a bit, because me personally, I have been in this situation and I have printed out documents and I find, oh, okay, these are the points that I want to find, and I highlight them, but still when I want to write, I have a problem. Now, and then I learned how to use ATLAS.ti for the purpose of my literature review, for my research, and then I realized I could use ATLAS.ti to facilitate my literature review management. Okay, so what I did was I no longer print out the documents. I just simply save the documents in soft copy format, okay, such as in front of us right now. I have 4 documents, highly targeted references on my subject matter, and I will start highlighting again. If traditional documents, traditional method, I would use a traditional highlighter to highlight that section, but now I can use the computer's cursor in order to highlight this particular section and label it with a specific label name or code name or tagging. Okay, for example, I highlight this section and I put the tagging to be definition. I highlight this section and tag it to be problem. Now the difference is, before I go to difference, let me talk about the similarities. Okay, how is this practice similar to a traditional way of doing this? Is we will still have to read. Okay, reading cannot be replaced by a software, but reading, thinking, and making sense of what that section talks about, okay, that is something that can only be achieved by a human mind. Okay, now that is still similar. I still have to read in ATLAS.ti. I still have to think about what this section talks about. But the difference is that the moment I tag it and label it accordingly in ATLAS.ti, it goes to the memory of ATLAS.ti, so that when I need it, I can just call upon an output from ATLAS.ti. Okay, the output from ATLAS.ti is actually a selection, or shall I say it, a compilation of everything that I have highlighted before from all of these documents, and arrange it accordingly based on my themes or concepts that I have identified earlier. Okay, now this output from ATLAS.ti, okay, this output from ATLAS.ti can be generated from within a few seconds only, provided we have already done the highlighting and the coding of the relevant sections. Again, later on I'm going to demonstrate how to do all these that I am showing you. Okay, now let's go through. I've already explained this at the beginning. What are the 3-step process of literature review management with ATLAS.ti? Now, the first one is preparing the literature. We're going to prepare the literature for the purpose of a review. Okay, and second, we're going to read through the literature, and third, we are going to prepare the output. Let's begin with the first one. The first one goes preparing the literature. We get the literature. Okay, I have identified 4 documents and I'm going to add them to the project. We are going to group the documents based on their shared characteristics. Now let me just show you. This is the interface of ATLAS.ti version 8 for Windows. Okay, there are different tabs on top here, as you can see. Okay, these tabs, and then we also have the different items on the left hand side. So the different items, you can open the document by simply double clicking, and open the other documents by double clicking as well. Okay, all right, now let me just go to the third document, double click, and it will open. Moving from one document to another is simply by going through the tabs that we can see on top here. All right, now okay, once all the documents are already in the project, what we can do next is to start with the second stage, to go through the literature. Okay, if we take a look here, going through the literature would mean segmenting, or in other words, we want to do the highlighting. Okay, and then we're going to begin with word crunch and word cloud as well, and then we're going to start to do label or tagging. Okay, let me just go very quickly to one of our documents. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, segmenting would be the process of highlighting. Okay, for example, when I do this highlighting like here, it is going to be highlighted as such, and I simply click on create free quotation here in order to tag it as a quotation. Okay, in ATLAS.ti, meaning it is the highlighted section. I can also do an overlapping selection like this. Okay, so you will see is one overlapping over the other. Okay, likewise this one. All right. Now the second thing I want to talk about is getting a word frequency of our literature. Okay, for example, this is a note on the benefit of sports and the connection between sports and health. Okay, but I am not sure how many times this particular word is mentioned. Now, getting a word frequency of the literature essentially means we are getting a general overview of how many times a word is mentioned. So it will facilitate our understanding that the more frequent a word is used, then there is high potential that it is more emphasis is given to it by the author. Okay, now let me just click on the word cloud, and it will reveal for me the list of words being mentioned in this document. Okay, and I can know how many times a particular word is mentioned is by going to bring my cursor to the words, and a small number will appear. Okay, 19 times the word physical is mentioned, 18 times the word activity is mentioned, and 11 times the word health is mentioned. So a word cloud works in the order that the central word, okay, the word placed at the central location and the biggest size, okay, is most frequently mentioned as opposed to the other. If you move further outwards like this, you will also see the low frequency of the words being mentioned. Okay, for example, elements, breakthrough, and cardiovascular was only mentioned one time in the document. Now, apart from doing a word cloud, I can also do a word list, which will reveal for me the exact same result, but in a different format. It will come up in the form of a table. Okay, the word physical was mentioned 19 times, the word activity was mentioned 18 times, and so on and so forth. I can just scroll down by sorting the largest number to be on top and the lowest number to be at the bottom. Now, once I get a general idea of what are the words mentioned in the article, I can move on to do coding. Okay, now let me just open that document again. Coding means identifying a specific segment in our document and label it accordingly. So I want to label my sections using some of the concepts that I have priorized concepts in my mind. Okay, now I will just tell ATLAS.ti these are the things. For example, I'm doing research on what are the benefits of doing sports, for example. So I'm going to go to new entities, new code, and I'm going to tell ATLAS.ti first one is physical benefit, and then I'm going to type psychological benefit and improved lifestyle. Okay, and then I'm going to create. You see, these codes have already been added to the Explorer on my left-hand side here, okay? And how it appears is that it will tell me improve lifestyle, zero groundedness, meaning there is no quotation for that code name of improved lifestyle yet, physical benefit and psychological benefit. Now, when I read, I find that, this one is talking about psychological benefit. Okay, so I simply select that selection and I'm going to bring psychological benefit drop onto the statement in order to label this statement with the code name psychological benefit, and accordingly the code name psychological benefit will be having one groundedness now. Okay, the other would be depression here, psychological benefit. Peripheral disorder, for example. So I think you can get my idea what is it that I am trying to demonstrate here. And the other one would be this one is healthy lifestyle, okay, improved lifestyle. Okay, and physical benefit. Okay, this part talks about physical benefit. Oh, this one is different. How nutrition, intensity, and type of physical activity. Okay, all right. This is also physical. Well-being of people. Okay, now this is slightly different. You see, because well-being is not one of the codes that I already have. Okay, the codes that I already have are threefold. Number one would be improved lifestyle. Okay, and then physical benefit, and then psychological benefit. I do not have good well-being. Okay, now I can add on to the list. Okay, for example, I have this selection and I want to code it with good well-being. I can simply go to open coding over here, good well-being, right, and then create it. Now, what ATLAS.ti is trying to do for us now is that it starts to manage our important points in the literature, okay? And our duty as a researcher, we only focus on reading, going through the literature, thinking, making sense of the literature, and linking it to a specific code name that is supposed to be relevant to that particular section. Okay, now at the end of the day, I'm going to have something like this. Good well-being, that is one statement. Improved lifestyle. Psychological benefit, I have three statements. So what I do, simply double click on this statement. Okay, and then after I will bring out a list of quotations for that particular code. Now, not only it manages the important points for us, it also enables us to go back to that particular section, okay, that talks about that statement. All right, now let me practice on another document. Okay, this is also on psychological benefit. Okay, I'm just going to close this one. Here is psychological benefit, physical, and then here is talking about improved lifestyle. Moving on to another document, it talks about well-being again. Okay, here, quality of life, lifestyle, and another one is talking about psychological benefit. Here is also psychological benefit, and the final one would be, yep, this one, physical. Okay. Let me just give an example here so that we can do it on good well-being. And my final document is this one. Okay, as you can see, the numbers also add up. Okay, beside the document, it will tell me how many quotations are there in that particular code, and beside the code is how many quotations are there for that particular code in good well-being, for example. Now, how many quotations I have for that document, how many quotations I have for this particular code. Yeah, I'm just going to go very quickly so that I can demonstrate to you how to move on to the next step. Okay, here is physical. Okay, this one is good well-being. All right, So I already have them. Each of the documents already have at least one quotation, and each of the codes already have at least one quotation as well. The third type of coding, okay, we did the deductive, we did the inductive, now it's autocoding. Okay, to launch the autocoding dialog box, we simply go to the autocoding icon over here, and we're gonna give instructions to ATLAS.ti. For example, in this particular document, I want to find the keyword of health. Oops, sorry, I'm just okay. And I also want to ignore keys because I don't mind getting capital letters or small letters. Once I'm gonna get ATLAS.ti to find the keyword health in my document, and I want it to highlight the sentence containing that particular document and to code it with a code name health. H-E-A-L-T-H, okay. Alright, so health. Now I'm going to click on confirm matches because it will confirm with me each time it finds a sentence containing that word. And now I'm going to click on start, and the system will bring me the first sentence containing the keyword health. Okay, I don't find this is important, so I'm going to skip it. Ooh, it's a title, so I'm going to skip it. Okay, the first sentence sounds, it looks reasonable to be coded, so I'm going to code it accordingly. Okay, skip it. Here is coded. Oh, it's a title again. It contains the keyword health. No. Yep. Title. Skip. And then, this particular last sentence containing the word coded. Okay, now what ATLAS.ti does, it will find the keyword that we instruct it to do, and it will find the context in which that keyword is mentioned, and it will automatically code that particular statement using our instructions. For example, here the instructions is to code it with a code name health. Okay, so in essence, I find 4 statements, okay, that I find to be reasonable to be coded with health, and I can simply revisit each and every one of the coded items with the code name health, which I have done the auto coding just now. Okay, can you see the potential of using the coding system in ATLAS.ti for when we create new codes, or when we did open coding, or when we did the auto coding, okay, whereby it will help us to manage the important points in the literature. Moving on to the third stage. Now, we have already covered the first stage of preparing the literature, putting it into ATLAS.ti, and then we went through the literature by doing segmenting, word crunch, and word cloud, and then we also did the coding until auto-coding. Now comes the third stage, which is we want to prepare the output from ATLAS.ti. Now, outputs from ATLAS.ti can be generated within 3 formats. Okay, the first one would be visual output. We call it as networks, textual output, or numerical output. Let me just demonstrate to you each and every one of them, beginning with visual output first. Okay, now the list of codes here essentially means these are the codes or the main themes that I have found prevailing or prevalent in my literature. Okay, and this, of course, these 4 statements actually come from different documents. So I'm going to go open the code manager now by double clicking on the word codes over here, so that I'll be shown the list of codes available in my literature review exercise. Okay, for example, I find good well-being, improved lifestyle, physical benefit. These are all benefits of doing sports. Okay, so I'm going to group them accordingly as under the code group of benefits of sports. All right, create, and you will see benefits of sports with the size 4 has already been demonstrated or shown in this particular code manager. And each of these codes, you will see the groundedness as well. For example, 3 quotations for good well-being, 3 quotations for improved lifestyle, so on and so forth. Okay, now the first output that I want to demonstrate is visual output. All right, now I can right click on this code group, open network, And I'm going to get something like this, which is actually a visualization of my coded items, okay, and for example under the benefits of sports, and I can even bring in, okay, the quotations at neighbors at quotations, okay, and I can arrange them accordingly. For example, here I want it to arrange as orthogonal tree or circular or organic. Yeah, I think this makes sense. So that there are 4 types of benefits of sports: physical benefit, improved lifestyle, good well-being, and psychological benefit. But that's not all, because now I can actually bring in the evidence from the literature that talks about each and every one of these codes. Okay, for example, physical benefit. Here it's talking about the physical benefit, improved lifestyle, the statements from the literature that talks about each and every one of these. And I can even save the network, and I can export it as an image. Okay, export bitmap. So it's going to be saved as a PNG. Okay, PNG. I'm going to put it on my desktop, for example. Okay, so now let's go to my desktop. Here it is. Okay, it's a PNG image of the coded items that we have done before your eyes just now. All right. Okay, that's good. Next thing I want to show you is how to generate a report textually. Okay, textual means I'm just gonna click on report over here, content. Okay, right. Now, this report, okay, is in .doc format. Okay, for example, good well-being. More information can be seen here. Okay, for the code of good well-being, document number 1, the importance of sports block. This is the statement that I have coded. Document number 2, this is the statement that I have coded. Document number 4, this. Now, moving on to the second code, improved lifestyle. These are the statements. Okay, physical benefit. These are the statements, and psychological benefits. Now, can you see creating a report of the coded items from ATLAS.ti is simply within a few seconds only, and it will actually help us to retrieve all the information that we have already coded from all of our documents, and it will arrange for us within the sequence of our code names. Okay, for example, here I have good well-being, improved lifestyle, physical benefit, for example, and I can even save it. Okay, by saving it, it will be saved in the format of .doc, right? It's a Microsoft Word document. Now, the third type of output, we call it as code document table. Actually, it is to show the code frequency across the documents. Okay, let me just show you an example. We're going to analyze code document table. Right now, all right. Now the table is currently empty because we have not chosen any of the codes yet. So I will simply click on the code names that I want to put into the labels of the table. Okay, and then I'm going to choose the items, right? So as you can see, here are the code names and here are the document names. It will tell me the frequency of these codes across the documents, and the value inside is actually representing the number of quotations. What quotations? Simply click on it and the statement will be shown bottom here. Importance of sports block talks about good well-being 1 time. Now, sports and development notes talks about psychological benefit 3 times, okay, for example, and here are the total times. Now, management of the important points in the literature will actually be achieved by using ATLAS.ti. Okay, the significance of doing or creating this codes document table will actually help us to reveal for us which document speaks the most about a certain particular concept that we are finding or looking for in the literature. Okay, all right, so that's it what I want to share with you. Let's return to the PowerPoint slides. Okay, the first the three-step process for literature review management with ATLAS.ti. Number one is preparing the literature for review purpose. Number two is going through the literature. And number three is to prepare the output. Now, let us revisit the common problems in doing literature review, which we have already covered at the beginning of the class. Yeah? No system to manage the literature, no system to manage the important points in the literature, and writer's block problem. Now, can you imagine or reflect back to whatever that we have covered demonstrating ATLAS.ti just now for the purpose of literature review purpose? Number one, by using ATLAS.ti, it will actually become a system to effectively manage the literature for our research. Okay, and number two, it will also help us to manage the important points in the literature. And number three, by having the output in front of us in three different formats. Number one, visual. Number two, textual. And number three is numerical output. It will actually help us to overcome the writer's block problem. Okay, in essence, that is what I want to share with you. I have come to the end of the online class. However, I'm going to open for Q&A session. If you have any questions, you can just post in the chat box, and I will try to address them in this session. Okay, we have the first question here. How do I get the ATLAS.ti? Oh, I apologize for not telling you previously. Okay, how to get ATLAS.ti actually is the trial version is a freeware. Okay, but the full version is actually a shareware, meaning we need to get a license to it. However, for the purpose of trying out and looking if it will be suitable or not for our purpose, you can actually go to www.atlas.ti.com, okay, and we can click on free trial version. Let me just go very quickly for you. Okay, here it is. I'm just going to go to a new tab where it goes www.atlas.ti.com. Okay, and okay, now you will be directed to the home page of the ATLAS.ti software, where you will see a lot of information here, for example, from the product side, support, learning, as well as the institution information. Okay, now you can just scroll down a bit where you will be able to see the download free trial. Okay, over here, and you can click on this orange icon in order to get the free trial version, and you can refer to our online class material, okay, this recording of this online class, so that you'll be able to start working on your own project for the literature review purpose. Okay, all right. It's okay if you do not have any questions at the moment. I welcome your questions on using ATLAS.ti for the purpose of literature review. Okay, you can send your emails to munirah@uum.edu.my, and I will try my best to respond to your queries. Okay, that's the end of our online class today. Until we meet again, thank you very much for your kind attention. And bye-bye, everyone.